Oh my gosh. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Jolene's Happy Time Craftcast. I am indeed Joleen, and thank you so much for being here on this lovely Wednesday. I have a tale. I have a tale to tell. All right. So, you know how last week I was telling you about my artwork went through the juried process of being in the Fine Arts Building at the Minnesota State Fair. So there were 3,000 applicants for 290 spots. And I was fortunate enough to be one of those people in one of those spots. And last night was the preview party. And so the little directions and the little invitation said, please come to the Fine Arts Building at the Minnesota State Fair for friends and family of like the artists that were like chosen, or it's friends and family night or something like that. So in my mind, I am thinking, people standing around with little glasses of wine and like some dude walking around with like a cheese plate, like I'm thinking like small, intimate affair. Like that's what I had in my mind. And so, of our children, Georgie and Charlie were able to go with some significant people in their lives. So, Ellis and Dolly. So, Ellis, Georgie, Dolly, Charlie, me, and Darren. We head to the state fair to what I think is going to be this intimate little wine and cheese party. Well, let me set the stage. It was like full Minnesota State Fair. Like there was a line to get in. There were like people with cameras and microphones interviewing people as they went in. It took us a while to park. It was hot, 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 hot. And it was like walking through the streets of Manhattan. There were so many people there. And it was just like a jam-packed little wormhole you had to walk through. And I didn't know where my piece was. And so I was just kind of wandering around looking for it. And when I saw it kind of in the distance, panel number 2, if you go to the Minnesota State Fair, you've got to go and like take your picture in front of it and send it to me so I can collect all these little elf on a shelf moments. Anyway, so I see it in the distance because this thing is like 42 or 47 inches in diameter. Like she's a big girl and you can see her from a distance. So I see it from a distance and I see all of these people like leaning over it, like looking at it. They're not touching it, but they're just kind of like, trying to figure out what it is they're looking at. And I get up to it and you guys, there was a little pink sticker on it. And I have no idea what this means. So this little pink sticker says that it has been awarded an award from some body of folk who have decided that my piece, Cerebral, wins the XYZ award. And I just keep staring at this little pink sticker and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know what was happening. It was so exciting. And then as I'm looking at this little pink sticker, there are people gathering around me and they're saying, are you the artist? And I was like, yes, I'm the artist. And then they were taking their pictures with me and hugging me. And it was like a full on moment of joy. It was so joyful and it was so exciting. And I met other artists. And the best part was my children standing there going, Mom, I am so proud of you. Like, this is such a great moment. I'm still so excited by that whole experience. So I want to say thank you to my craft club. We had to put last night's meeting on hold so I could go attend this fancy party, which wasn't a fancy party. It was a full-on swarm, but it was really exciting to understand that we had to postpone until next Tuesday so I could go and do this with my family. And my kids were all dressed up, and it was just the best. It was the best. So for all of you who have sent messages and written on my socials, all the way to go, Jolene's, I really, really appreciate it. I'm still on top of the world. It was yesterday and it was just amazing. So again, if you go to the Minnesota State Fair and you go to the Fine Arts Building, my piece is called Cerebral. It's the great big one with the sculpted book pages, and it's the bindings, and it kind of looks like a brain. It's on panel number 2 and it's on a wall all by itself. And it's got a light on it. Anyway, it's a great feeling. It's a great feeling. So enough about me. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to talk to you and introduce you to Another big deal, friends, like another big deal from Minnesota in the world of art. And her name is Emily Victory. And I bet lots of you have seen her art around because Emily is a math-minded painter who blends geometry. That's right, geometry and math. Like how we are always like, I don't math. Not Emily. Emily, she maths. And so we need to gravitate toward this and understand this a little bit better. But she uses this geometry in her bold acrylics. She's from rural Minnesota, and she and her husband have 4 energetic sons, and she works with really vibrant pattern. And as soon as you see it, I know you will recognize it. And Emily's work has appeared on HGTV, PBS, and Twin Cities Public Radio. She's spoken at major institutions. Her Emmy, let me let that sink in, Emmy award-winning Minnesota original episode also won PBS's most viewed video award. So a very big deal right here from Minnesota. I know you will do a really great job welcoming Emily Victory to the Happy Time Craftcast. And there she is. There's Emily. Hi, Emily.
Hi. Thank you, Jolene. That's really sweet. And congratulations.
Thank you. I'm still kind of energetically zippy and buzzy about it. It was just really quite fantastic.
Well,
so
and you said diameter, so this is a circular piece?
Yes, it is.
Like you're after my heart.
Yeah, right. So can you just tell us about like even the piece behind you? For those of you listening and not viewing, it's a large circle with a beautiful bright bold pattern on it, and it does look like geometry. So talk to us just a little bit about like your style.
Yeah. Well, this piece right here is painted on pegboard from Menards. So that is my style. Like
love that.
Love a good, Home Depot run or something. And then I sewed back into this one with yarn, every color of the pattern. So it's like a quilt pattern that I don't know if you can see, there's different like layers, some pop.
Yeah.
The colors at this time, I had 3 boys. And so it's each of our favorite colors in a different kind of quilt pattern. And then with the different layers. So it's kind of like, it's like a little bit of Home Depot, a little bit of grandma with the yarn, a lot of color with my kids. I feel like all their toy colors starts to infiltrate into my artwork. So it's like,
So you use the circles in the pegboard to be where you dive into with the yarn.
Grid. Yep, the grid of it. So it's all planned out. And then it's like, well, there's holes there. I have to sew into it.
Of course you do. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So when people are new to meeting you and you have to give them the elevator pitch of who you are and what you're about, like, what do you say?
Yeah. I really obsess about mathematics in my mind. Like if I have a thought of like, if I'm curious about anything, it's like, oh, I wonder what that would look like. Like, oh, here's this geometric problem. And then I'm like, okay. I wonder what that would look like. And then I start to doodle, draw. I start to go a little crazy on my Google searches. So it starts with a curiosity, and then it's head first deep dive into like what the mathematics is. And then I feel like becomes the playtime of like, okay, now that I understand it, like, how can I make it my own? So that mostly it's like my understanding of this mathematics. And I'm a very visual learner. Like, if a math teacher would talk, I'd be like, okay, but like, what does that look like? I would like stop the class. I'd be the kid like, okay, but like, and then I'd ask the rambly question about like, what does that actually mean? And what would it look like and how it, and so I feel like that's what I'm doing in my artwork.
Sure. So, okay. Again, if you are listening and not watching, I need to explain my face. So my face keeps going, like my eyebrows keep going up, and I keep kind of like tilting my head in a and I don't get it kind of way, because in my community of crafters, like one of the things, Emily, I swear to you that we say a lot is we say, I don't math. Yes. Like we say that all the time. And to hear you talk about like your attraction to it and how you gravitate to it, can you help us understand how math becomes art?
Well, and first off, I have to say, I feel like you were presented math in this memorization, symbols only, and math can be so visual. It's just like we're missing a whole nother side of math. So I feel like
we need to embroider that on a pillow. Math can be so visual. Yeah. Okay. Or a t-shirt. Okay, I got it.
So you could say like, I don't math yet.
Right. Fair enough.
Okay. And your question was, I'm so sorry.
How do you connect? How can math be art?
I think obsession is art.
Okay.
I think the more you dive into your books, like the more it's like, I think that literally, I went to this show once at the MIA. They have a room for artists from Minnesota only. And there was this artist, Liz Miller, and at the time she used pure felt. And I was like, felt, but she obsessed with felt, and felt was and it's like, I think literally any obsession can be art, as long as you just like go, like you don't hesitate, like deep dive in. And math specifically, right now I'm leaning really hard into geometry, so proofs, and proofs on a circle. So like circles are my jam right now. And so if you look at a proof, it's just this written out thing, and I just keep asking myself, like, okay, well, what would that look? What would that look like? So I'm chopping circles, I'm dividing them, I'm using a protractor. So it is very mathy, but like it comes out visual. And then I add a pattern in my crazy kid toy inspired color and make it my own. Yeah.
Amazing. Now you just finished a mural, right? In a pretty predominant area of Minneapolis. Can you tell us about that?
I did. I have a mural now on Lake Street, which it's so exciting. It's 12 feet by 6 feet. And it's kind of a pinch me, like
of course.
In my 20s was like where you would go stroll around. And so it's exciting. It's on Ingebrigtsen's, and we made it look like Ingebrigtsen's is a Scandinavian marketplace.
Yes.
And so we made it look like traditional weavings, but with different layers. So it looks like they're stacked on each other, even though it's, flat.
Right.
And
congratulations. I mean, that's
you.
So exciting.
Yeah, it is. And especially as an artist, I think there's statistically you apply, and you get like 1 for every 10 shows you apply for it when you start, right? So there's a lot of like, you don't get it. And since I didn't get into a couple other things, but sometimes there's like one that says yes, and it's like the right one.
Right.
You can just lean in.
Oh, I totally get that. I get that. And I think too that like in my opening example for me yesterday, so my son, Charlie, if you haven't heard me talk about him, let me just paint a little picture. He is a death metal drummer. Yeah. And so my kid has a vibe. Like, he walks into a room and people are like, oh yeah, he's in a band, like he just has like this look to him, and he's beautiful and comfortable in his skin, and long hair and long earrings and chains on his jeans. And like last night he was wearing like a silk shirt with a wide collar, like real 70s vibe, and big combat boots. He looked amazing.
Yes.
And to have this child like walk over to people and say, come here, bro, I got to show you this. This is my mom's. I could have just died. Like to your point about like 1 in 10, like for me, that was a 1 in 100 moment, because, sometimes I feel like our artwork can be so like, I'm alone a lot. It can be quite solitary. And I don't mind that either, but it's the sharing and the viewing and the interacting. So, I mean, a mural, Emily, like in a predominant part of Minneapolis, it's amazing. And like now, like it's tactile and more, people are in it. That must just feel amazing.
It does. You know what? And it does. That week that I painted it, I had locked off, and then my husband had to travel for work. Right? So then it was like, I not only painted that, but I painted it like with my kids around.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
And so they got to see me working, and then and at first, you don't have a lot of sleep.
Right.
But I'm like, I'm so thankful.
Yeah.
That felt like that. Like they were bopping around and like, oh mom, look at that color. And so it's like, I'm proud of where it's hung, but I'm also proud of like, you think everything's going to turn out perfectly and you have the right situation to paint the girl of your life. And it's like, no, you can just paint amongst the chaos too. And I'm almost as proud of that I just kind of am doing, Yeah.
Well, I'm going to be up again on Monday. And so I'm going to go and I'm going to elf on a shelf. I'm going to take my picture in front of it. I'm going to send it to you, because I hope you have like a collection, because I cannot wait to have this collection of friends who've been in front of my piece, and just like they're going to be treasures.
Yeah, totally.
That's so exciting. So in all of the things that you do you have a favorite like project, medium, or technique, like of all of it? Like, do you kind of gravitate, or do you, I also kind of go in phases. Like I get into a phase where I'm really into something and then it like switches and then I'm into something else.
Yeah. The thing that first popped to mind, I love it when something is flat, but you think it's not at first. So all of mine
sure,
have a layered look, and for that I use a lot of charcoal. I just kind of tape off a spot, charcoal along a line, peel it back, and it looks like one is popped forward and the other is drawn.
It does. So you have pieces that I thought for sure were layered and maybe could spin. Like they look like they could spin, and you can line them up and like spin the wheel. But those are all flat.
It's all flat.
Oh man,
I love that. Like from afar, it's like, ooh, and then you go closer, and it's like,
yes,
oh my gosh, that's what I love. It's like that surprise of like they think it's one thing, and then you like switch it up.
Definitely. It deceived me because I thought I could like spin it to get it to maybe line up in a different way. That's how dimensional it looks.
Yeah, cool.
So then what do you think about when do people ever say or ask, how do I get started with this medium or this form?
Yeah. I think that's the hardest part, honestly.
Okay.
Because I do think our style, what we see in our head, is 20 paintings away from
where we're
at. Yes. Yeah. So it's like you have to just start, because it's not going to be what you envision right away. And sometimes that's really great because you learn too. And also I think a blank canvas is the scariest thing. So I always put like black stripes on it and then a little wash on top. So it's still kind of a blank,
right?
But it's been imperfected, I guess.
And, isn't that so true? I mean, I feel that too, that like sometimes I have sketchbooks that I don't use because I'm going to ruin them.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like, oh, I don't want to ruin it. Or like, this is my special paper. Or I do that too, where it's sometimes, even if I just, fold the page and get a little crinkle in there, it's like, okay, now I can have liberty to use this as I will.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing we do, isn't it?
Oh man. And I even, in a yoga class or something, well, should I go? Cause I'm not, well, yes, you should go, because like, how would you ever get to where you would like to go if you don't start? I think I saw a quote where it's, you don't have to be good at it for it to be good for you.
For you.
And like, there are paintings that are terrible of mine. And it's like, that was so good for me, just for like, painting is how I calm myself down. It's how I myself. It's just the act of painting sometimes. So start just because you're curious, not because you're seeking perfection, I think.
Well, and in your work, it does look pretty perfect.
From afar, I feel.
Okay.
That's the surprise. It looks like a machine made.
It looks perfect. Yes. Yep. I love it. But you're saying if we got close, there's a little bit of humanity in it.
I don't use rulers often. If it's a really long line and it has to be, but if they're those little, like this one, if you go close, the triangles are not perfect. There's wobbles.
So you're like us. You're just like us.
That's why I'm like, do I fit in the art world? Because I'm kind of too. The games you play with your head. It's
definitely.
I'm analytical. I use a ruler and a compass all the time. But then in the craft world, I'm like, well, I shop at Home Depot, and and like, where, but also then it's like, do I need to fit? I don't know.
Right. We talk about that here all the time. Am I a crafter? Am I an artist? What am I? And I kind of have been getting to sort it out for myself in that I am an artist in my heart, in that I feel like I kind of approach everything from the nuance of artistry, relationships, my home, my businesses, like everything has like a little bit of a flourish or a little bit of my personal detail or touch or style. And to me, that feels very artistic. But then I'm a builder. Like I use power tools and I build stuff and I manipulate and squish and push. And and so I understand that. Like it's like being all the things, right? Like I love that. right? Not just one. So, okay. So I have another set of questions for you that I can't wait to get to, because we have this new segment that we've been doing for a few weeks now, where in anticipation of your visit today, we've done a call out to our community asking for questions specifically for you. And our community does not disappoint. Thank you, friends. Mwah, you are the best. So here is our first one. So, as someone who is fascinated by both math and art, I love how you connect the two. Do you see geometry as a set of rules or a playground for creativity? Thank you, Priya.
I love this.
I know, right?
Do I see it as a set of rules or a playground? Okay, it's both, but in the right order. At first, I love to know the rules. I love to see exactly how others have done it. I love to like deep dive, like, why was this created? Who created it? And like, and then I also like to apply it. I'm like, I don't love to just look at a theorem. I'm like, okay, let me prove that it actually works. So I like do the problem, do the proof like 12 times over, just to myself, like, this is a legit thing. And then once I know it, like hardcore, then it's like, okay, now I can play with it. Now, even if I change it up, and so I make it kind of untrue just for like my own visual appeal, no one else would ever know that. And so I'm tweaking the math in it, but it's because I know the rules, so I'm intentionally breaking them. That's what I love.
And I will be sure to, I'm going to link your website in our show notes, just in case some folks are like, what are you guys talking about? It's the pattern, right? It's like getting the pattern from the geometry is basically kind of how we would lead folks to understand what we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. We got it. All right. Here is your next one then. So what is your go-to pattern when you want to break through a creative block? Ooh. Thank you, Anna. This is a good question.
Yeah. So like a specific pattern that I always go back to, as in like, what do I draw? It looks like 2 3s, or it's like an E and a 3 back to back.
Oh, and sure.
And it's really small, and I usually use some sort of iridescent paint so that when you catch the light on it, it kind of sees the curves differently, and it looks like just kind of like a doily-ish thing in the background. Sure. And when I do something repetitive like that for hours on end, I swear, I don't know the science behind this, but like, now that I'm saying it out loud, I dive. But I swear that focus allows my brain or something to calm, and then it unlocks like whatever problem I was trying to work on. It's like I'm quiet enough to hear the answer, or calm enough to just sit with that question long enough for it to have a different breakthrough in another, if that makes sense. So I'm meditative almost in this little. So
you're talking about playing. You're playing with your favorites, right? And you're getting something different the more you play.
Yeah, and it's so familiar to me that it does. It feels like this really calming thing. And then before I do that repetition, I might look at a problem or a painting that like is driving me crazy.
Right.
Tuck it away and not think about it. And it'll just kind of bubble up and be like, oh, there we go.
So this isn't from others. This one's from me. But so what artists inspire you? Like, who are the folks that stop you in your tracks and you're just like, more of that, please. I must have more of that.
Okay. So the one that was like, at first.
Yeah.
Robert Ryman.
Okay.
The painter. And if you envision like white paint on white canvas, and when I was first learning art, I was like, who is this guy that is so famous and he just slaps white paint on and it makes it psycho, right? Occasionally he would put grids underneath. Until, then I deep dived into Robert Ryman, and he is like, he approaches art like a science. So he's like, what does this paint react with this kind of a surface? So all of these, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. So in art school, I went to New York, and I actually sent him an email and was like, you can come to my art show in New York. And his assistant sent an email back, but he went like my least favorite to my favorite just in my research of him.
Right.
And then there's another one, Hilma A.F. Klimt.
Okay.
She is like a geometric. She actually was one of the first people, or maybe the first person, to paint abstractly, but no one saw her work until 50 years later because she wasn't ready for it. She had a show at the Guggenheim, and she does these that set records. Once her shows, like once
Mm-hmm.
her work was revealed, she made a promise that no one would reveal her work for 25 years after her death, because she's like, they're just not ready for me yet. And I'm like, oh my God, way to have, you
Yes,
know,
yes,
I mean,
yes, yes. All coming back to me. Yep, yep, yep. Mm-hmm.
yep. And so it's geometric and it's representational in that she was painting like her spiritual world. So there's always like some sort of meaning behind all of the work.
Yeah,
For me, that's like mathematics. For her, it was spirituality and even a little like
right.
seancey things she had with her friends. But the colors and the large scale and the geometry of hers is like my spirit
Well,
animal.
I will be sure. I'm going to link both of those
Yeah.
in the show notes,
Nice.
because good on us for like
Yeah.
learning more about art history and where we draw inspiration from, and the work that has inspired the work that we do. I love that. I think that's the least that we can do as people who live artistic lives, right?
Yeah.
Like we have artsy jobs. And so
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing that we do. So here's another one. And this one is, this is a great question too from Sarah. So Emily, your work mixes geometry with free-spirited play. Do you start with a precise math plan, or do the patterns surprise you along the way? I think you answered this a little bit.
Yeah.
You might start with a proof and then nobody would necessarily know that it was incorrect, but you start one place and go somewhere else, like a lot of us.
Yeah. I feel like before children, I used to go a lot of like, it would be like, I'd start something. I'm like, I don't, and it would just become its own thing. And
Sure.
now, like, I kind of have to be like, it's go time. Let's make
Mm-hmm.
this. So I do use Procreate a lot. In like the mapping out. So I'm like, okay, here's what I'd like to paint. And that's kind of where my play comes too.
And you can see it too, right?
Yeah, I can
Mhm.
change things quickly. I'm like, ooh, what would green look like here? Or what would black, or, you
Mhm.
know, and change up forms. So that feels like the playtime now,
Mhm.
even though it's not with my paints that I love. But, and then once I kind of switch to actually executing the piece, then it's kind of just like, it sounds so bad, like production time, because it's so.
No, I get that. I'm a builder. I get that. Mm-hmm.
Time is of the essence, and like I kind of crank it out, but yeah, it's definitely play. I have an idea, but I'm proud that I'm open to not knowing that that's the best idea once I start.
Right.
Like sometimes I'll be like, that was not it.
That is so, it's timely that you say that, because so I've been working on a piece called Circles Upon Circles. And you love it, right?
Circles.
And what I did was, okay, so I am currently in a very strong and profound book board phase. Like I am in a book board phase. I'm making almost everything out of book board. I am obsessed. Our word of the day. So I've been taking these book covers, and I wanted to say thank you so much to my friends at the Winneshiek County Recycling Center who call me and say, hey, Joleen, we have a tub of book covers for you. Do you want them all? And I say, yes, I do. And then I drive and I get them, and they've already like recycled the text block, and they have just the book cover for me. And I made them a couple of pieces to say thank you, but thank you, Winneshiek County. I love you guys. You're the best. Anyway, so the Circles Upon Circles. So I have laser cut. I was doing it with a drill press. And Emily, if you can imagine the amount of dust and fluff from cutting it on a drill press, because I was coming down and through, and the drill press is turning, right? It's not a straight cut like a die, it spins. And so it separates the layers of the book cover. And so a book cover that might be, 3 millimeters is now 6, because of all the dust and the fluff from being spun. And they were just, we made them work. They were just dusty and messy. And then I'd have to kind of, clamp down the sides and trim out the mess, because they were just floof. So anyway, so I switched from a drill press to laser. Laser has changed everything. I look like a coal miner most days. I'm covered in soot. My hands are dirty, and I have to clean everything. But I have a camera in my laser, so I can see it on my computer, and I can cut exactly what I want to cut. Like I love it. I love it. I love it. And I was afraid at first of the ventilation and how I was going to take care of that. But Darren built me a sled. So my laser is up on a sled so that it vents right out the window, and it's fabulous. But anyway, so I've been cutting all of these circles, thousands and thousands of circles. And so I decided that the substrate for this project is 2 feet wide and 6 feet tall.
Yes.
She's a big girl. She's a big girl, right? So first layer is background paper. Second layer are just circles that need to be sacrificed. And then the next 2, 3, 4, 5 layers are risers. Risers that I rolled out of paper to make like a little stack so that I've got dimension in my piece, right? And then I can attach everything in little baby sculptures, like working my way around. Well, what I didn't math, my friend, because what I didn't do is I didn't figure out that the taller the riser, the rounder it would need to be. And so as the circles have been bumped, just in like moving it on my easel, they break off because the riser's too skinny. And there's not enough support. So I probably lost 10 to 12 of my pieces because it's just not sturdy enough for this vision that I've had. So, talk about learning as you go and having to kind of change course. And I guess the point I'm trying to make is that there's a part of me that's like frustrated, like, I have to redo this. Mm-hmm. But then there's another part of me, like, it's like, okay, now it's going to live. It's going to stand the test of time, because if even in just moving it around, I'm losing some of my components, I haven't built it the way it needs to be built.
This is why math can be art, because it's all problem solving.
Oh, definitely.
If everything went great, I don't think I would love being an artist. Like
that's so true. That's so true.
I'll probably regret saying that sometime too, but it's like, this is the fun part, because like some people stop right there and throw their hands.
Oh, right. Well, and I always tell the folks who come to, they come to retreat with me and they come to my programs and classes, and sometimes they say, well, how long will that take? Do they ever ask you that? Are they like, ooh, how long did that take?
Yeah.
All the time, right?
Yep.
And I say something contradictory, because I say, I never really think about how long it takes, but sometimes when I'm in it, I could get a gold medal in bitching that I'm still making it, So I don't think about it, but I still complain about it. And it doesn't scare me away. Does time scare you away from what you want to make and build?
No, I love when a project occupies my mind.
Yeah.
And so as long as I'm there, I don't care how long it goes. I mean, if there's a deadline, I should care.
Yeah.
Right. But it's usually when I don't have a project that I'm like,
right.
Like, what am I doing with my life? I don't know. It's just this. Yeah.
So what's on your work table right now? Like, what are you working on right now?
Yeah. I have a solo show, like my first legit solo show. Yes. At Hutchinson Center for the Arts. So if you just head west. Yes. And so it's called Circle Theorems, because I'm deep within circle.
Yeah.
As well. And it's pure mathematics. She just emailed and she's like, can we apply for a grant so that high school math classes could come in and we talk about visual art? And I was like,
that's so
like,
cool.
I know it's like, it's so silly, but it's also like my whole life is like meeting up to the art, math preparation, and like the teaching, it's like, this is so right. So, I should be, how like I should be further along than I am, but this is how I work.
Yeah.
I like to think things and sketch things and gather things, and then it becomes go time. So I am working on 4-foot circles or larger with geometric circle theorems that you'd see in like 10th grade geometry proofs, just because I'm like, did I actually learn them, or did I just memorize to get an A? So I'm like, I want for some reason 41-year-old me wants to know.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's at the Hutchinson
Center for the Arts.
Yeah. Hutchinson Center for the Arts. And you open when?
November 7th.
And do you know how many pieces you'll show, or are you figuring that out as you go?
Yeah, I'm figuring it out as I go. Yeah. I have like on my little Procreate. So my kids go to bed and I take out my little Procreate and I'm like mapping out my little show. I have like things that could potentially be in existence.
Yep.
So
it's very exciting. I've done it once, and it was great. Yeah. It was really great. And it felt good. And it was weird. in my experience, it was weird to walk down the hallway of my exhibit. And mine was kind of in an L. So you'd walk this way and then you'd turn and go that way. And it was kind of emotional, to like walk through it,
Yeah.
So congratulations. And like, you'll have to let us know how that goes. And maybe I can even go. That sounds really exciting.
Yeah,
so, okay. So you're working on your show.
Yeah. And Halloween. Sorry.
Oh, and Halloween, of course.
That's a big deal around this joint. So
yes,
you start. The boys love it, and so I lean in hardcore to Halloween.
Can you show and describe? One of your Halloween costume constructions.
So in my true to style, I don't love. I love crafting, but the influx of so many things, I'm not organized enough person to have major influxes. So I love to use duct tape and cardboard.
Right.
Just so this is a little. It's been in the garage for a little bit, but a little ice cream truck. So it is a little cardboard box that I have cut. I wrapped in duct tape, made some wheels, little hole for your child at the top with some straps, and then you can use duct tape like stickers. So if you lay duct tape down and then cut with an X-Acto knife, peel back, so you can make like cute little designs. So this is kind of one of the simpler one that I worked with last year.
So for those of you listening and not seeing, it was an ice cream cart with straps. So like, imagine you like put the straps over your shoulders and then the ice cream cart goes around your body, and it's like hot pink with stripes and an ice cream cone and like an awning, and it's amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, we go a little more crazier where it's like a functional excavator and a train that we hit the candy inside of the front part of the train. So
I love it. Have you I know you've listened to the show. Did you ever hear me tell the story about how my mom is the OG? Like, my mom is like a crafter and an artist. She's a quilter. And
I did see her episode.
That's a good one to see. Because I tell you, that woman on that show, that was not my mom. That was an imposter, because she was so well behaved. Like, that's not the woman who raised me, but I digress. So my mom called me yesterday. And I was on a call, so I couldn't take it. And she called me back, and I couldn't take it. And so I always, I thought something was wrong.
Yeah.
And so I was finally off my calls, and I answered, and I was like, Mom, oh my gosh, what's the matter? And she goes, oh, nothing. I have an idea for your next retreat. And I was like, tell me more, Mom, what's this idea? And she said, I think that I should teach how to make a quilted table runner or a quilted tote bag. And I said, oh, okay. And she was really excited about how she would teach beginners this quilt thing. And she was super, super excited. But the reason I bring her up with Halloween costumes, I have a distinct memory in my childhood of my little brother, Tommy, wanted to be a werewolf. And my mom hot-wired her sewing machine to sew yarn. And I remember like the yarn was over here, and she like had to build like a thing so that it wouldn't go in with the bobbin, but she was still able to get it to loop. Like, that's how amazing my mom is. So it's a legacy. Like the apple in the tree. We are very close.
Gosh, I had a Halloween costume growing up too, where the mane was yarn.
Yes.
There must have been a thing.
Like loops. Yes. Yeah. Well, my mom, she looped a pair of Tommy's jeans so that when he put on his jeans, he looked like a werewolf. And awesome. It was amazing.
I love when you lean into your kids' weird.
Oh, yeah.
Interest.
Yeah. And Thomas went on to become a Halloween costume designer.
Stop.
And and did a whole lot in the work of like the promotion, positioning, and the marketing of costumes. And even if you look back in my socials, you'll see me as Elphaba. So one Halloween, he alphabetized me, and in classic little brother mode, like I had green makeup in my ears and up my nose, and like it took me like a week to get it all off, but I looked good. I was a good Elphaba.
You have to go all out. Yeah.
He did. He really did. But I digress. I was going to say, so you are working on your show. I am working on, so of course I've got a couple things going at one time. I'm working on circles upon circles, but as I was working on it, I had this other idea. So I had friends come to one of my retreats, and they brought me a bunch of um, old National Geographic magazines. And so with National Geographic, there's some conversation about value, right? Are
Yeah.
they
Mm-hmm.
valuable? Should you
Yep.
destroy them? Blah, blah, blah. So I did all of the research, and no, they're not valuable. And the ones that need to be saved are archived and saved in places where they should be saved, right? Not in our homes where they
Yeah.
get dusty and smelly. They're at like the Smithsonian or something. So
Yeah.
anyway, so this is what I decided. I decided that instead of circles, I am going to make another one with these images from National Geographic. And so I've cut them out with an X-Acto knife or a scissors, and then taken a photo of them, traced them in Procreate to make a pattern, and then cut them out of bookboard on a laser so they're stiff and sturdy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now when I make my next circles upon circles, I can have almost like, look at this cowboy. I can have like a diorama.
A whole little world of
A whole little world. And it's going to be like a collage, but you have to visualize like my little pieces and parts, like 3-dimensional. And then I have like a lady on the phone. So it's going to be black and white and color. And like, I don't know where I'm going to go. I just have the concept of how I'm going to get there. So that's what I'm working on.
I love it. I love it.
It's making me laugh. For sure.
There's so many parts to even get through to even you putting it together. That's incredible.
That's the part I like. I like the tactile. I like that I have to cut it out. Right. So I had to first harvest, as we say in collage. I had to harvest my turtle. I had to find him and I had to cut him out. And then I had to take a picture of him, bring him into Procreate, make his pattern, make a laser cut file, cut him out, and then matte medium him too, because he's sturdy so that he can stay up. And he is actually from a 1956 National Geographic magazine. So
one time I had a woman, she's like, isn't there like an easier way to do this? Because hand drawn, and I was like, 100%.
Oh, absolutely.
But that's not how I work, and I have to
me either.
This process to get to that, maybe. But
right, someday.
I
love that. Okay, so all right, so to summarize, before we get to our very last segment, we can find you on your website, which I will link in our show notes. We can find you on social. And what you appreciate the most from the folks that listen today might be that they find you on social and give you a follow. And if they are interested in commissions or learning more about where they can see your work in real life, they would find that on your website, correct?
Correct. Or
all right.
Step-by-step Halloween costumes.
Yes.
We're all of the things. Yeah. Yeah.
I love that. So the step-by-step Halloween costumes, tell us more about that on your website. Like what's that?
Well, that's, you know how you have like those sneaky little like side projects where you're like, this is art. This is just my little crazy thing.
Yeah,
so
this is my,
I started a TikTok, 5 years ago, a TikTok page where I would just, I would keep my art over here, my math art, and my crazy little costumes over on my TikTok. And it's funny when you let the world see your little bits of fashion, because I feel like that's the authentic part of you that people respond to. And for some reason, we're so used to hiding those for who knows what. So, I would post my excavator and somebody's like, have you ever done a fire truck? So then I'd be like, sure, let's try this. So then I just do kind of step-by-step tutorials, and I have a few on like a little blog on my website. It's a work in progress, but yeah, if you're interested in any sort of step-by-step,
love it,
duct tape, head to TikTok or my website, or
and we'll link it. We'll make it easy for people to find you. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. So thank you so much for being here today. But before we let you go, we have to get to like our most favorite part of the Happy Time Craftcast, and this is our questions. And I know you've seen our show, so you can elaborate, or you can just say one word, and hopefully the questions aren't too hard, but it does give us a chance to get to know you just a little bit better. So Emily, what is your favorite word?
Okay. I feel like I was more nervous for this part because it's like, you just get one shot,
Right.
And mine totally changed since yesterday. So
mine too.
This is funny. you know, the whipped cream that comes in the spray can.
Yeah.
So I got some yesterday because I don't know. There's so many rules. Sometimes I'm just like, here, kids, put out your finger. And I just want to be like the silly mom sometimes and just,
of course.
so, you know, clean up your stuff, whatever. So anyways, we did that. And then we said, like, I said the word dollop or something. And then I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, did you know? And this is how my brain works. I'm like, did you know that word you can rotate 180 degrees and it says the same thing? So if you take the word dollop and you just flip it over, it would still read dollop, like the P would become right. Okay. And then we were talking about swims is another word like that. So if you rotate it, so we were drawing out words and then like rotating them, and that's called an ambigram.
Yes.
So I just chose today. It came from that yesterday. Our little dollop.
Love it.
So ambigram or dollop is the word today, because it's, I mean, how beautiful. The word, I think pod, you can just rotate it around and the D becomes a P, and the, you know.
Well, I think
rotational symmetry.
So our daughter Hannah.
Yeah. Oh, it's a palindrome.
Yeah, she's Hannah both
ways. That's vertical symmetry. So this is fictional. Yeah. So
you are amazing. I love that. I love that you know that, right? I love that your brain is like whoop, and like how awesome. I think today, because I like you, my word changes.
Yeah.
But I think today my favorite word is I need help finding it, but it's about when you feel whole joy. Like I'm all joy, head to toe. What is that word? Am I like I'm filled
beautifully content, but that's 2 words.
It's okay to be 2. Content. But it's like the whole
joy.
Head to toe, I just feel great.
You are coming off of a really really big milestone.
Yes.
Good job.
Yes. Yeah. And you know, I shared a little story about like, you know, Charlie going to get people and being like, that's my mom.
Yeah.
But then I also have to tell you that my daughter Georgie, we were standing in front of the piece and people were taking photos. And as people were taking photos, she said, "Mom, look at me." And I looked at her and she kissed me on my nose. I could have died. Like I could have died. It was just an amazing moment. And I'm still
there are whole shows made of pieces that have been rejected from the Minnesota State Fair. Like and those shows are incredible. So to get into the State Fair and then to get the little sticker, like that is big time. Good job.
Was great. Thanks. It was so great. There is too. I saw. Did you see this year's NPR article on Minnesota rejects or State Fair rejects?
I didn't, but
beautiful. Like
I know.
Like, oh my gosh, like amazing. Yeah. So I know that it's awesome. It's great. It's great. So do you then have a least favorite word?
Yeah, I feel like for every one of these I have like 2.
Like, right.
The word hate.
Yeah.
I just like, I don't know if I really hate anything. I just can't. If anything, it just teaches me something. So it's like, do I really hate something? I just, when I catch myself saying it, I'm like, I don't even know if what I'm saying is true. And then the other one, this was a rule that my mom had. We couldn't say shut up. And so, you know, and then just a couple of weeks ago, this is why it's on my mind, I think. One of my kids said shut up. And I was like, I mean, if you know, there's ways you could say it where it's like, oh, shut up, you know, like if you actually are stopping someone from speaking what they would like to speak. I'm like, oh, I think I don't love that.
Yep.
Yeah, those are my 2 today.
My son Jack has a story about the first time he told me to shut up.
Yeah, it just feels wrong.
And it was like he tells this story, you know, like it's a core memory, because I am a pretty like, I don't know that I ever used a lot of punitive measures in our children's lives, you know, but I mean, I certainly wasn't gentle, and I know I raised my voice many times, but he tells this story about the time that, you know, he must have been 7 and he told me to shut up, and how he's like, my face turned a certain way and then his face turned a certain way. And he he's a great storyteller, but he tells it like, you know, a dramatic noir. You know?
Yeah.
But we both live to tell about it. But I know they're just
I feel like there's words too that like are probably worse than that I you know, my kids would say it and I'm like, you're just exploring your territory. Like, I'm not that strict, but like when it's shut, I don't know. For some reason,
I know. I know.
that's
It's a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah.
Okay, so less serious, but also
Yeah.
very important because my favorite food is toast. So what is
I have to like brace myself. Okay.
What is the best kind of sandwich? And we want it described.
Yeah. Well, I feel like, and this bread is so important to me that I feel like I could do like, okay, if it's morning, it's different than,
Yes.
but typically the grainier the bread, like if you can still see the ingredients, that's like my favorite thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But if we just went on, like we went up north for a couple days and we would go mini golfing. My kids are just hardcore into the mini golf phase. Yeah, the oldest
fun. Yeah,
right there. And then we went mini golfing. Then we went to this little cafe. It's called Lakes Latte in Pequot Lakes, Minnesota.
Yes,
so up northern
Minnesota.
There. And I think it's because I was like on vacation and my kids were like exhausting a little bit. But when somebody else makes you food, so I had their veggie wrap. So it was like, the green wrap. So I like a bread.
Like the pesto wrap. Yeah.
And then there was like tomatoes, cucumbers, sauce, and sprouts. Whenever you put sprouts in something, I'm like, ooh, that's fancy now. I don't know. Like, I love it. So it was just, I think it hit right because it was a hot day and there was
crunchy.
Yeah, there was a free splash pad right there. And I just hit plate and I like sat and I just like had so much gratitude for this silly wrap. So I feel like I have to say that one.
I don't judge that. Like I totally get that.
Yeah.
And like right now I am in a pickled onion phase. So Darren makes a mason jar of red pickled onions and jalapenos. Yeah. And when we don't have them, I actually feel sad because I'm like, this is the most amazing thing and I put it on everything. Like I'm putting those pickled onions on everything because it's got the acid and the crunch. So it's amazing. It makes everything better. So a BLT with avocado and the pickled onions.
Yeah. Sign me up.
And the tomatoes have to be from my neighbor's garden because we don't have a garden because we haven't like figured out yet a containment system because we just have so many predators.
Yeah.
Deer, raccoon, fox, like all of the creatures. And when we had tomatoes, our chickens would like come into that area and just poke them once for the fun of it. You know, like a little Plunko game, so that didn't work. But the BLT, with the pickled avocado, or the pickled onion, I can't, like, I will even put the recipe in these show notes because it's so good. So good.
I have a garden. So I tried to have a little garden this year, like 8 foot by 4 foot. And I have 2 of those.
Yeah, nice.
Together. Okay. So I would throw compost out there. So we threw our last year's pumpkins. Now I have so I planted, whatever pumpkins. It's all from our last Halloween. So I'm like, I had tomatoes in there and now it's just
covered.
I'm a pumpkin grower and I didn't even try to be.
Right? Yeah. I've heard that too from, I remember when I was growing up and we were eating pumpkin seeds outside. And somebody, just was like spitting their pumpkin seeds. And then the next year, my neighbors had a pumpkin patch in their front yard from us sitting on the step eating pumpkin seeds. So yes, they're prolific.
Funny.
So I hope you get good ones.
We have 2 growing. I'm like, look at us. We didn't even try.
Amazing.
Try for something else.
Amazing. Yeah. Great. So what about this? Now, not everybody thinks that animals are scary. So two part. Do you think that there is a scary animal? And if so, what might that be?
Mm-hmm. This is funny. So my husband is an actuary, so he calculates risk. It's like, oh, should we do that? And I'm like, I don't see anything. Like I'm
right.
I don't like have one animal, but we did live in Florida for a few years. We lived in Tampa, and every, so you follow all the Facebook, that area group, and it'll be like, okay, put your dogs in tonight because it's alligator mating season. So the alligators, I mean, they're like 14 foot long and people would just be golfing. They just like cross along. I mean, it's crazy. And they post it or somebody's dog would get eaten, like, so, or like we're packing up to move and there was like a 4 foot alligator in the little water 4 feet from us. And I'm like, this is okay. Like, I know unless I do something to him,
Well, so
but also like you're right there and my kids are right here and like this could, it's just they're so foreign. And then I would say that to like people down there and they're like, well, you have bears. And I'm like, yeah, but bear, I think it's whatever you
Right,
live
which you don't
by.
know. Right, of course. I would say that I
Yeah,
would find that to be very scary.
it's different. Yeah.
I gotta stay with my theme that I've had like all summer, and that's this
Yeah.
raccoon. And this raccoon that keeps
Yeah.
coming and eating my
That's
chickens, which is very unusual in our experience. Like usually our raccoons just live in harmony with our chickens
yeah.
and they go into the chicken house and they just take feed and they leave. They
Mhm.
don't usually take a chicken.
Yeah.
So so now we have all these alarms of like, personal alarms, go
Yeah.
shut the door, go check.
Um,
And we even now got a solar operated door for our chickens so that when the sun goes down, the door will go down so that no one else will come in. So
Yeah.
these pesky little
Yeah.
raccoons still continue.
I grew up on a hobby farm. That's always a hard day when you walk out to start to feed them and you're like, oh man. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah. Good for you.
yes. And it isn't even so much scary as it is. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, the sound they made the evening that the raccoon got into the chicken house, we had the windows open and I heard it. And I could just tell that it was animals fighting. And I couldn't, it sounded like cats or something.
Yeah.
But the sound kind of made my blood run cold because it was so loud and so unsettling. So that indeed was scary. But okay. So
Yeah.
on to something happier. So
Yeah.
what does being an artist mean to you? Like you are an artist, like legit, Emily, like that's what you do. Like how does that feel?
It means everything. I think I could
Yeah.
get emotional here because I feel like I tried so hard. I don't know if not to be, but like, goodness, sorry.
No, that's
When
okay.
you're a girl growing up and you're good at math,
Oh,
it's like I got a women in engineering award, and so it's like, oh, women in the STEM, like I liked that. And so it's like you kind of go on this route. I went into college thinking I was going to major in math and physics and then like go to grad school, and I loved it until I had a cubicle, and like when the learning stops, sorry, okay, I'm okay. When the learning stops and like you kind of just do the similar thing on repeat, and I'm like, how do you sit in a cubicle? This is something I don't know if I could do, like from
right.
2 to 5 p.m. And if you don't have enough work, so you kind of have to look like you're working, but you're like, oh, it like sucked the life out of my soul. And so I have a degree that I could make good money in, and I went back and got an art degree. So my husband jokes like it's the most expensive way to make this amount of money. But
Yeah.
I'm like, this is true too. Like I know this is so right. And like I got an art grant for $3,000, and that's when I quit my job. I moved in with my parents. I was 26 years old, and I renovated their little chicken coop, and that was my first art studio. And it was July 5th, and I like walked across the lawn and I was like, bye dad, I'm going to work. And he was like, oh my God. Like I was that kid where he's like, is this like
Right.
my other siblings knew what they were going to do and they're like stuck to it. And I was like, but I like knew that was right with every part of my body. It means everything. I am not great with mundane repetition, and so every day as people are like, oh, you do math art and you teach classes and I'm like, this is how I function best. I know it might seem chaotic to other people, but it's like, this is where I thrive because every day is different, and today I might be making a commission that looks totally different than tomorrow, and that excites my brain, and I need that like problem solving on the daily in order to being an artist means that I am an ever learning problem solver, and that lights me up more than anything else I could dream of.
I love every word that you said, and I also identify because I went to college on a musical theater scholarship, and I thought that I was going to Broadway. Like that's what I thought. And my dad sat me down and I told this story so many times. My dad sat me down for a conversation about backup plans. And he said, honey, you are choosing a really hard road, and the road will be paved with rejection and heartbreak. And I just want to make sure you are ready for heartbreak. And in my 18-year-old unformed brain, what I heard was, Joleen, you're no good at this, and you should probably choose something different. That's not what he meant.
Yeah.
Those were not his intentions.
Yeah.
Because I shit you not, at my grad party, he said, and I quote,
Yeah.
I always thought you were going to be an actress.
Right?
Like, oh, you know.
Yeah.
But my point of my story is that as an artist, sometimes for me, one little hiccup or pushback from others can define a trajectory. Because of sometimes it's connected to money or the money you will make or won't make, or, you know, how do you make a living at it? And I'm so grateful that the world has changed in that. I can teach classes. I can have people, you know, support my art by coming to my retreats. Like, there are business opportunities now inside of art. And so now, right, I have degrees in business and counseling, and it all comes together, right? Like, it all ended up the way it was supposed to. But on its way to getting here, there were moments like the one that you just had, that it just feels so good to be at home in this skin, and in this reality, because this is my truth.
Yeah. Yeah. I think I bumped against exactly what you're saying. Like, why did I do that crazy little, you know, dream I have when this is right? Like, and I tried to force it until I couldn't. And my dad, I think, knowing that, like, I'm not gonna listen. I mean, I am gonna listen. But, he sat me down and he was like, okay, as long as you have health insurance and you're happy. So he's like, if you can just prove to me at any point you have health insurance and you're happy, I'm good.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
health insurance costs how much? Okay, we're good.
And it becomes more math.
Yeah, but similar conversation, just worded slightly different, you know? Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for sharing that with us, because I know that can be, it's a vulnerable thing, and you are in safe hands, I promise.
Yeah.
One last question then.
Yes.
So then, since this is the Happy Time Craftcast, Emily, what brings you the most happiness?
I feel like we've talked about it already. And sorry, I'm like all shaky and emotional now, but
yes.
Goodness. We went to Valley Fair on Monday. My 7-year-old, read 50 books this summer, and that was our reward. So if you read 50 books, you know, we did it the night before, and then Monday was Valley Fair. Oh, and I know you'll appreciate this because I've heard it was like 68 degrees and sputtering when we went to Valley Fair. The lines were short and it was like not hot. It was beautiful. But it was their first time with anything other than like Paul Bunyan Land, which is like, you know, wavy roller coasters.
Yeah.
We got off of the high roller, which is not like even close to the biggest ones. And
no, it's the best one though.
They were talking. I mean, they got off and they didn't care that all of them were talking at the exact same time. Just, oh my God, that was like just all at once. Awesome. Like just trying to, you know, tell me all about it. And I was like, you are so lit up about this. Yeah. I love people that are like, they don't even care if somebody's listening. It's just like, oh my gosh, has to come out of me. And in that moment, I was like, oh, this moment. And then my husband and I went to a play last week, and it was called Scarecrow on Fire. And it's this, I think his name is Kevin Kling. He's a storyteller. He has been on NPR. I knew two people that were going to be in the music, so I didn't know much about the play, but he had this monologue at the end where it's like, I swear when people are talking right to you and they're doing exactly what they should be doing in life. And it was like, I'm getting emotional because this guy's doing such an amazing job at like what he should do in life. Yeah. And that one, and then I just ran into a friend yesterday who does sound baths, and his sound baths, instead of doing like, I mean, there's like the crystal bowls and gong, and then in his, there's also like a ukulele and a rain stick. So it's like,
I like a ukulele.
You know, it takes the rules. He knows the rules, and then he breaks them, and it's like that type, like the person that is so lit up by whatever they're doing, that makes me so happy. Whether it's me or other people, it's like I get happy from you being 100% authentically and then just spewing that out.
Yeah. I absolutely love that. And I think that happiness is really contagious. At least for me. You know, like when I see it or observe it or participate in it, I catch it. And I love that so much. And I think, I have in common with you that I can be an observer, or I can be the active participant. And a lot of times you land in the same place.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with you. That's lovely. And I love catching it. And I love giving it.
Yep. Yep.
Both of those things are true. Oh my gosh, Emily, thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for, having some moments of vulnerability, telling us about your artwork. And please believe me when I say I'm so happy for you. Like murals and national recognition and PBS and HGTV and like all the things. Like that's so great. That's so great. And so many congratulations. And I will be sure to link in our show notes how people can find you, website, Instagram, and TikTok, if they are interested in Halloween costumes and art for all of the other things. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here. I really, really appreciate it.
It was wonderful. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. And for those of you listening, I really hope that you will join me on the next Happy Time Craftcast. Can you believe we're already up to number 62? And Sam Wayman will be with us. And Sam, also a big deal. She is a guest artist at Big Raven Yoga, and she's been with us since almost the beginning. She is an animal-loving artist from Gainesville, Florida, and she has got paintings that are now turned into yoga mats. She's a vegan and an advocate for that, and she supports rescue and conservation and eco-friendly art using reclaimed materials, just like me. She loves cooking, plant-based meals, yoga, gardening, taking care of her pups and animals, and wrapping that all up in some beautiful art. So please join me on August 27th, where Sam will be my guest. And until then, please stay as happy as possible. Bye, everybody.